I will let Maynard talk about his company more in himself, but I just wanted to let everyone know that from a non-corporate perspective, they're very important members of this community. So thank you for being here.
Say something real quick.
I'm Toph Breslow. I am a co-founder of Calacann, part of Calabasas Apps. And I'm also the CEO of a CBD skincare company called Sleep Beauty. And I also do freelance graphic design. So that's, I'm more of the behind the scenes of this,
He's the brains of the
this
operation.
function. And he's more of the MC. Visionary.
I'm the face, she's the actual person who makes everything happen. So down here and up in Chemain too, so cool. So welcome everybody, Maynard. I'm the CEO of Calacann Media. We do digital marketing for the cannabis, hemp industries, plant-based wellness, medicine kind of stuff. And yeah, really grateful to be here. Dave's been wanting me to come up here, and I was going to do a panel on cannabis, and then but I thought, you know what, sales is something that we're all really is important to all of us, right? And no matter where we are, right? Comics, you know, therapists, all these kind of things, they all come back to how do we relate to other people? How can we best communicate, you know, and get our point across, and kind of bring in our ideal client, hopefully, right? So once again, welcome. All the wonderful slides my wife did. She's a genius, like I said, behind everything. So welcome everybody. And so first and foremost, mention a little bit of who I am, but why do I have any sort of credibility with sales? Right, so first and foremost, right, I'm a husband and father. As you know, or you should know, right, being a husband and father, you're involved in sales every day. If you don't know that you're involved in sales every day, give me your name, your mother's name, I'll say a bracha for you and daven on you, and help you along with this process. Because definitely everything interrelational, right, everything that we're doing is based on how are we kind of helping each other, telling each other what our needs and our goals are, and helping the other person know what it is so they can lead us in the right way, help us in the right way, and get us there, right? Also, you know, Judaism is something that's central to this, right? And the sages say that one of the first questions that we get asked when we go up to Shemaim is, did you deal with business faithfully, right? Did you deal it truthfully? Did you bring God into your endeavors, right? And that's one of the first things we're going to have to say, I hope so, right? So it's something that we should really, it behooves us to learn exactly how it is, right? So selling with integrity, it's not just about selling, it's about selling with integrity, right? It's about how can I do this in an honest way, in a proper way that's beneficial to everybody around me, right? And in a way that's going to, you know, turn this dark, holy, or dark, mundane place in our everyday endeavors into something that can elevate it, right? So, and like I said, the co-founder of Calacann, started off, you know, me finding all the clients and me doing all the work, and then my lovely wife came on and started doing prospecting for us. It was still me kind of doing all the websites and the, you know, fulfillment and everything going on. And now, you know, we have half a dozen, still pretty humble. We have a half a dozen in-house employees. We have another probably half a dozen contractors who help us out in different roles, help us in our fulfillment, everything like that. And but we, you know, have dozens of clients, and people are happy with what we're doing, right? And it all just started based on this little thing, learning sales, right? And that's, I still do all the sales. I still get on all the sales calls, and I still bring on and onboard all the clients, right? So, and something, right? Sales, I think, is, you know, I want to kind of just like address what sales are, what they aren't. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about, you know, not just this introduction, but, you know, what are sales, what sales aren't, you know, a little bit of philosophy about sales, but I want to get into as well quickly the meat and potatoes about like what I call the MVP, and then getting into like what a flow is when you're on the call with your prospect or you're talking to them, and how actually the process of bringing them on board, that kind of thing, right? But, you know, I grew up in LA. I don't know about anybody who's been in Husa Arts, but all the Israelis who go to Husa Arts, if you weren't a surf instructor, you'd be a general contractor over there, right? So they all are general contractors, they're all building houses, right? They're all involved in sales. And I, you know, I go to shul and I meet these Israeli guys, I'm like, Maynard, you'll be great for sales. You come on, I teach you. You come to my car, we teach you. We're going to tell everybody the house is horrible and they need to get new cabinets and blah, blah. And that's like what I learned, right? Like I would drive around LA and with these guys, and they taught me some stuff that's valuable. It's not something I use today, right? But it's definitely, you know, certain tactics in sales, right? But what I learned, right, eventually was that I actually hated sales. I hated sales. I didn't like selling. Like, I would get anxious around this whole concept. I didn't like this idea of like going somewhere and making someone do something, or they're gonna give me money, and there's a lot of problems going on with just even that, right? So, point being, right, is that it's something that I had to learn over time, right? So, you know, just in terms of sales, right, I'd love to hear from you guys real quick, right? What do you think when you think of like sales, selling yourself? What are some of like the things that come to mind? Anybody? Any words?
Asking questions.
Asking questions. That's great. Fantastic. There you go. Anything else?
Social media.
Social media, right? Social media, selling, getting out there, putting yourself out there, right? The net. How are you going to bring people in? Anything else?
Shaking hands.
Shaking hands. This is incredible, right? This is the main thing. You go in there, you shake hands, create relationships, development. That's exactly what it is. Anything else? Anybody else?
Getting rejected.
Rejection. Yay. That was one of the things, right? You get anxiety. You hate sales. What's going to happen if someone says no? What if I really need the sale? What if I really need the business? How am I going to pay the bills at the end of the month? Right? These kind of things. Right? So I think a lot of times we have a negative connotation with sales in general, right? You think of like the sleazy car salesman, right? He's pushy, he's fast talking, he's salesy, right? You know, there's idea, right, that salesmen, right? Oh, ABC, always be closing, right? No matter what, who's in front of you, right? You just got to keep pushing through and keep bringing on sales, no matter what it is, who you're hurting, who you're helping, doesn't matter, right? Kind of thing. And, right, you think of like, oh, I got to like have these sales scripts, right? You know, these kind of things that are going to, you have to go all the way down, and then, right, and I'm sure you've gone on calls and someone's scamming you and they're like, is your auto insurance up? Right, all these kind of things that people are going through, right? And of course, no one wants to be sold to, right? People want to buy, they don't want to be sold to, right? Because we always feel like we're getting screwed over, right? Somehow we're getting the short end of the stick, someone's manipulating us some way along the way, right? And I think that's what I'm saying. Sales has like a negative connotation. That's why for me, sales with integrity was so important, right? So making sure, right, that sales is something where you're honest, where you're giving something that somebody else wants, that someone else needs, that you know you can help them, right? You know that you can deliver on this, right? And knowing that not just am I a good fit for them, but are they a good fit for me, right? Are they somebody that I want to work with long term, that I want, that I'm going to be involved with in their life? I could be weekly. I'm talking them monthly, hopefully years if we keep them on board for a long time, right? So that's how should we think of selling, right? I heard good comments here, right? Communication, asking questions, shaking hands, right? Social media corresponds to like prospecting, right? I'll talk to prospecting in just a little bit, but that's like the net that we're throwing out there to get the people to come in to talk to, right? So how do we think of selling, right? Like a doctor, right? We're more of like somebody who's gonna help and diagnose someone's problems and help them with that, get them to what they need, right? So, you know, I think, like we're saying, listening, right? Making sure that everybody knows that you're the expert in this field, right? Who has to believe you're the expert? You have to believe you're the expert first, right? First step is overcoming sometimes imposter syndrome, those kind of things. But knowing that for sure, listen, I've been doing this, I know what I'm talking about. Right? Like I said, diagnosing and leading, right? Believe it or not, like I said, doctors are salesmen, right? And, you know, I used to work in medical research. I remember, you know, I'd see the doctor would always be taken away by these pharmaceutical reps, right? You know, and they come back, and all of a sudden they'd be prescribing all these prescriptions for this new medicine, right? Whatever it was, they went to come out to dinner, took out to lunch, whatever's going on. And it's not that they're pushing it necessarily. It can only work if the person needs that, right? So you have to sit there. You don't think of a doctor as a salesman. You go in there, you tell them your problems, what's going on. They're listening to you. And then from there, they're diagnosing what you need. And if they now take if you now take the prescription and throw it in the trash, I would say that's silly, right? Of course, wellness and more holistic approaches can also be utilized. But point being, right, that's the way that we should feel when we're talking to prospects, when we're bringing someone on, that, listen, I'm just trying to help you here. I know that what I'm doing is proper, and I know that my way works. So if you don't come on with me, I think that's just silly. It's like throwing a prescription in the trash can. And that's the way that we start think about our mentality and our process, what we're doing. Right? So having a flow, right? Having a spiel, right? Like when someone asks you to give over that funny joke that happened on your honeymoon or on your vacation, ever, right? You don't have to like read your script and like, oh yeah, and this happened, that happened. It's just something, you're just living it, you're just sharing it. That's the same kind of thing when you're on a call with somebody else, when you have a prospect in front of you, when you have a potential customer in front of you, right? So that's the way that we look at it. And of course, you're providing value, whether or not you bring them on as a client in the end, you want to make sure that they walk away feeling really good about that conversation. By knowing that they knew more about this process after they've talked to you than before when they came on, right? That's the main thing in today's day and age, right? Is giving something to somebody, right? And that carries into everything else that we're doing. It carries into the integrity part, but it also carries into the expertise, right? They know, oh my gosh, this guy really knew his stuff. And creating an impact in their life, right? Making sure that what we're doing is going to help the person, right? It's going to help them be successful in their endeavors, make them more money, whatever it is, the goals that they share with you that they want out of this relationship, that's what we're doing for them, right? So, what is sales? We can move on here. You know, it's a skill that's always in demand. It's never stopping, right? It's something that can always provide for your family. It's always affecting our everyday needs, right? You know, looking for a job, right? I know that for me, if anything happened, if our company was under tomorrow, I know that for sure. First of all, I can, you know, I'm from LA. I can sell oranges on the 405, right? But that's not what I would want to do, right? The point being is I could definitely for sure land on my feet. I know that I could sell myself in a job interview. I know that I could end up in another sales position, or I could start a new endeavor. And I would be okay because I'm confident in my ability to find things that I love and that I'm passionate about and being able to give that over to somebody else, right? And literally life-saving. I just want to give a little story real quick, right? That there was, I heard a story from about a living Saudi, right? A living Rebbe, right? I won't share his name, but he's a leader in the Breslow movement, right? And you know, as Rebbe's do, right? They are also part of sales, right? So they know that, oh, you go to across the pond to America and you do some fundraising. He was in the city, ended up in a seedy part of town, not so good part of town, and he was walking with this guy by and ended up with the gun in his face with somebody saying, hey Jew, give me all your money, kind of thing, right? And now he's sitting there, and what does he do? He starts trying to listen. You don't argue with your prospect, right? You agree, okay, sure, whatever, you know, I'm gonna give you money, no problem. You know, what do you need money for? What do you mean what do I need money for? Give me the money. You know, you're probably going through some hard times right now, huh? You know, tell me what's going on with you. You know, you've probably been through some traumatic stuff. By the end of this conversation, he's asking this guy all these questions. The guy's crying, right? He's like, you don't need money, you need help. You know, you need something, you need help. You've been through so much. And the guy's broken down, and he's like, gives him a little bit of tzedakah, and the guy's like, here, come with me, I'm gonna walk you out of town. Right? And like, saved the guy's life. Could have, you know, been a very tragic situation, but he was able to talk himself out of it just by listening to the person, asking them questions. Right? So just a little muscle, but it's a true story actually. Right? So like I said, don't want to belabor the point too much, because you guys are already here, but sales are happening everywhere. They're happening at the bank, they're happening in Misrata Panim, they're happening at the post office, right? Every time you sit down and they're telling you, you're in the wrong window, you gotta go to the other place, or you're in the wrong office, the appointment's in their day, or you didn't have the right form. They're just selling you. When you're selling them, I'm not going anywhere until you help me. Some sales going on there. You know, right? The grocery store, when the old lady comes in and she's, I just have 2 items, can I please cut in front? And then she comes in with the whole basket behind her, you know, and then everybody else is kind of, there's a sale going on over here. She just sold you that she just had 2 items, all these other things, right? Job interview, like I said, right? You have to be able to express why you're perfect for this job, right? And of course, even at night when you're putting your kids to bed, right? Someone's getting sold, right? The kids are selling you on the fact that they're still hungry, they're thirsty, right? They need something, right? He's reading me a story, and you're like, it's time for bed. What are you going on? There's sales, there's negotiations going on all the time in our lives, right? So the first thing is about, right, everybody here, we had introductions, and everybody shared what it is that we do. The more that you can have clarity about your niche, what you're doing, and who your actual ideal client is, the easier this whole process is going to be. Right? What is it that you do? Who do you do it for? Right? So for me, right, when they ask me, what do you do? I could say, I do websites, I do SEO, I do affiliate marketing, I do this, I do that. Guess what? what makes me different from the guy on Fiverr who does websites? Anybody else who does websites in your field? There doesn't differentiate you whatsoever. When I know exactly who my ideal target is, right, then I can very easily speak their language and speak to them exactly who they are, right? So I help cannabis and hemp business owners reliably increase their monthly revenue by growing their online presence. That's a lot different from saying I sell websites, right? Somebody who's in cannabis or hemp business owner knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? They know exactly what I'm talking about, and I can speak their language and tell them what their problem is even before they've been able to register what their problem is a lot of times, right? So instead of saying, speech therapist, right, or whatever it is that we're doing, right, I help, parents whose children, we have to clarify in our mind, right, who is our target audience, right? I'm helping Olim, navigate through the financial world in Israel when they come here, right? It's very hard to move your money over here and be able to invest properly. So that's what I'm doing, right? And the more that you clarify, not just Olim, but people from Philadelphia, people from San Diego, wherever it is that you're from, and the more that you can niche down, the more that you're seeing that you're gonna get better results, right? So one thing I wanna say, right, is this isn't necessarily about prospecting, right? You mentioned social media, right? It's not about how am I getting now the people in front of me, right? There's a lot of different ways to do that.
For that, you need to pay him. That's what he does for you, so he won't give it away for free.
Can't give all those secret sauce, There's a lot of secret sauce here I'm gonna leave you guys today, by the way. This is stuff that I've had spent years doing and spent thousands of dollars to learn how to do, bringing on coaches and all these other things of what I'm doing here today, right? Point being is that there's a lot of different kind of prospecting systems on what you can do, different offers, right? Social media is one. How are you doing the social media, right? All these other things, right? For me, we have a system where I'm talking to people multiple times, not even getting into the sales before by the time I talk to them, I've already talked to them for over an hour by the time they come on for a sales call. Probably twice already by then, right? But I know that they need what I need. Why? Because I'm talking specifically to a group of people, and sometimes they don't need what I need, but they're gonna express that to me. If they don't need what I need, then that's okay. They don't come on the sales call, but they're still gonna benefit from talking to me in the first place, right?
You need what you have.
You need what I have what I need what I have. So, thanks, my love. Right, so, like I said, I'll give you 2 words on prospecting. I already said it, right? But niche down, right? The more you can niche down, the better it's going to be for you. Really understand who it is that you're talking to and go after that client and speak to that person over and over and over again. All right, once again, it's a repeatable process. You understand your client's needs and pain points, and you can deliver time and time again, which also corresponds to integrity, selling with integrity. So if you know you can repeat the process over and over again, right? If you know that you can deliver to your clients, if you know that you're talking to them and that you're reaching their pain point, then everything I'm doing is something that they need, and I'm never overstepping my boundaries. I'm never pushing someone to do something that they shouldn't be doing. Right, so here we get into it. Right, this is where I want to go. Right, this is what I'm talking about, the MVP of sales. Right, MVP. This is when one aspect of this is missing, your process will be off. You will not convert. You will not feel good about what you're doing, and the person will read it, and you're not going to be successful in that regard. Right. So just a brief thing. I'll go back one more. So the M, corresponding to your mentality, your mind state, your mindset. When you're getting on a call, when you're talking to a prospect, right? How do you feel? What do you think about yourself and your product and your offer and everything you're doing, right? Do you think that you can help them, right? The V corresponding to vibes, right? A little esoteric, right? Spirituality, right? Something everybody knows, right? If you talk about spirituality, wow, you cut people off. I don't know about all that stuff. But you talk about vibes, everybody knows that there's vibes, right? Everybody knows. Dogs know that there's vibes. Someone walks in with the vibe. Babies know that there's vibes, right? And definitely in a sales process, there's vibes where the person feels pushy, feels salesy. Ugh, get away from me, right? Kind of thing. You're causing the client to push you away, right? And there's ways to actually address this and to perfect it, right? And then P corresponding to your actual practice, the actual technique, the actual flow that you're bringing them through, that you're leading them through, right? The words that you're using, and how you're actually making it happen and allowing them to tell you what they need from you.
What does P stand for?
The practice, right? And this is a whole cycle, right? So the more that you do it, the better you feel about it, right? It's not like, oh, well, my vibe's off, so I better not take any sales calls. Like, no, you get on that sales call and you suck, so then you get better the next time, right? And you understand more and more and more what's going on, and you continue to improve your process, what's good for you, right? Action is better than no action, right? Imperfect action is better than no action, right? Progress over perfection, always.
So
right?
practice is to do over and over.
Yeah, so no, practice is the technique, but this is a cycle, meaning that once you're gonna feel better about it once you've done it many times, right? Your vibe's gonna be better, your technique's gonna be better when your vibe's feeling better, right? So they all are like a flow, right? It's like a cycle, right? But they all very much influence. If you know, once you're doing this for a while, like I can get on a call, I can record myself on a call and know where I lost them precisely and what caused that. Right? Or I can listen to someone else's call, and I can know exactly where the person's eyes started to become glazed over, where you lost them. Right? It happens every time. Right? Whenever there's a lost opportunity, weren't properly qualified, they don't trust you, or you lost them. Like that's pretty much it. You know? So now we'll get into it. Right? So like I said, that mentality. Right? How do you get a good mentality? How do you feel good about what you're doing? How do you believe in what you're doing? Right? So do you believe this person needs help in general? Specifically your help. Does this person actually need something out there? Right? How do you find that out? You've asked them. Right? But you can learn to identify it later on. Right? So you believe your product, service, or good will help this person. Right? Is what I'm offering actually good for them? Is it going to help them? You know they have this problem. Is it going to help them get there? Right? Do you understand their pain point? I know my clients' pain points better than they know their pain points, right? I know for sure what they're gonna say before they say it, right? And I know that for sure I can relieve their pain point because I've done it time and time again, right? So the more that you do that, the more you feel good about what you're doing, and your mind is in the right place every time you're on the call, right? Do you know what they need better than they do, right? It's the same thing, right? Having an understanding of the pain that's going on, and you can speak it. And when they say something, you can add on to it. Be like, and this and this and this. Like, yeah, how'd you know? You know? And sometimes you're helping them to clarify in their own mind what's going on because you know what they need and you don't want to tell them, but you're asking certain questions that are getting it out, right? And specifically, I think this is something that, you know, I touched on earlier with the anxiety, with the hating sales. This is something that we have to overcome on a base level, right? Every single person, no matter what you're doing, are you worth it? Are you worth it for this person to come on there with you, right? Because there's a lot of undercharging, a lot of undervaluing, a lot of underbeing, right? Underbeing does not help anybody. You're not helping your prospect, you're not helping yourself, you're not helping your family, you're not helping the world. God put a lot of time and effort into us, not that there's time and effort in that space, in that realm, but my point is that there's a lot of investment into all of each and every single one of us in this room, right? To be human beings, to be successful and to, you know, to do in a way that's going to bring light into the world, right? So being a small person doesn't help anybody. So the second that we have to work on this, really, to overcome this, right? So, you know, it's not a coincidence that today is also the yard side of Moshe Rabbeinu. I just want to have a quick thought about this, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, was he humble, right? This is the whole thing. People think, oh, I don't know if I can help him. Oh, I don't know if it's good. Oh, I don't know. Then you're not helping anybody, right? Moshe Rabbeinu at the beginning, right? What was he doing? Oh, Hashem, I don't know. Go get Aaron. Aaron's better than me. I can't speak. I'm not the right guy. And what happened? It didn't help anybody. How did he become actually humble? He realized that this gift that he had from God, the Torah, was actually the most beneficial thing for all mankind. If he did not sell the Jewish people on the Torah, we were all doomed, right? And with this acknowledgement, with this power, he was able to move forward. And even though he didn't have the best, eloquence, he didn't feel like he was the part, but he stepped up to the plate and he felt good about it because he knew what he was doing was right. And he knew that all of his power came from God, right? So when we have that kind of ability, we can move forward very easily, right? So V here is for the vibes, right? Like I said, V's sounds very esoteric, wonderful. How can you actually do it? So I'm going to give you examples of what I mean by vibe and an actionable thing you can do to elevate your vibe, so to speak, to elevate that wavelength, right? Something that you can actually do, right? So a vibe is trustworthy. right? Does this person actually trust you? Do they actually feel like you're telling the truth? The second that you break your integrity, your trustworthiness with somebody, it's over. Forget about it. It's hard to recover that, you know? So how do you do that? It's the best way is to always be honest and transparent. I never have to remember what I told a client or a prospect ever because I say the same thing over and over again. I know I'm not mixing up words with one person over here saying something else. I know I'm not saying something to get their clothes and later on have to remember what I told the person, anything like that. Right? You're always standing in front of the same person and you're giving over what the truth is. Sometimes I suck. And I had to tell a client last night that I sucked on something for 2 months. And I had to give them 2 months free time. But we're doing great on this part. So this part's great. So keep paying us for this part. But this part, let's put it on pause for a minute. We'll get it back on track. And you just have to be transparent. And she's like, thank you, Maynard, I appreciate that. Where I could have lost the client completely, right, if I wasn't honest with that person on why we weren't delivering, right? There's needy aspect, right? When you're needy, ooh, it gets everybody feels uncomfortable, right? When you're needy, you need something you need the sale. I know it's hard when it's the beginning and you don't have any sales, you don't have any business, you don't have any cash flow going on. When you know that this is like your prospect that you've been like trying to like get on the phone, right? And now you're trying to not be desperate when you are desperate, it's the hardest thing. Right? Like it's the hardest thing. How do you overcome that? You get more leads. The more leads you have, when you know that you're closing, okay, I'm closing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of the leads. This one's not gonna work for me, that's okay. I'm gonna have another one. When there's only the one, oh, please. It's like the person is like, please stop, you know, I actually wanted to come back to you, but now I'm annoyed, you know, kind of thing. So, and it's not about not following up, it's not about not knowing what they need and giving and performing, but it's about the vibe. They can smell it, you know? Right? Having a calm demeanor, being relaxed, coming into the sales call, coming into your interaction with people, and being so chill, right? I have a different vibe completely where I'm like leaning and I'm just like sipping water and coffee and like that's just like what I do. And I don't know if I suggest that for other people to do, but I'm just like super relaxed, like unbelievably comfortable and relaxed in every situation with this. Because I know I'm gonna kill it. And right, how do you do that? You be prepared. You keep doing it over and over again. Meditate. I meditate a lot before sales calls, right? Like I'll just sit there 5 minutes before sales call and just like meditate. I'll just my breath for 5 minutes. Right? And you know that you're an expert. If they go somewhere else, I feel bad for them. Like I'm like, I'll talk to you in 6 months when they suck, and I'm gonna come back and call you and give me the business. I know for sure. Right? Right, and of course, the main thing, right, trustworthy and heard are two in the same thing. That's why they're top and the bottom. You have to know that the main thing that you're selling is this person is in pain and you gotta help them. Right? They have something they need from you. And if you're not going to do it someone else's, so guess how you find out what they need? You listen to them. You listen to them. Stop talking. You're not waiting to talk. When I'm saying you listen to them, it doesn't mean that you're taking notes or you're listening. You're actually listening. And you're remembering what they're saying because it's going to come in handy later on. I'll show you how. Right? And of course, be authentically you. Right? No one else can be you. Can't be me. I don't know if you want to be me. The point being is that, you know, for sure, you have to come across, you have to be you in every situation. It doesn't mean you're the same guy on every single call, you're the same gal on every call. You have to be relatable, so you have to mirror your prospect, but in your way. You're not putting on a show, right? Sometimes I'm on the beach in Tel Aviv, and sometimes I'm, davening in the Chabad, right? And they're both authentically me. They're no different. Sometimes I'm going to prospect with the guy who's a surfer from Tel Aviv. Sometimes I'm going to prospect with the dude who's a religious dude. Doesn't matter. You have to be relatable and authentically you, right? And of course, the main thing with vibes, honestly, is this is how I circle the whole thing in the first place, is just knowing that what I'm supposed to have is going to be mine. What's not supposed to be for me is not going to be mine, and I should not want what isn't meant for me, because every time I chase after a prospect and I bring them on after maybe it wasn't the best fit, it blows up in my face, right? You bring them on, and now all of a sudden they're annoying, and they're taking up all the space, and they want to talk to you every day, right? Or now you find out that they don't have the runway to keep going after many months, right? Or whatever else it is, you're having problems with fulfillment. Every time I have any sort of issue, I can go back to this point and I push too hard to bring them on, right? That's why the integrity part is so important, right? So what I do is I dive in for my clients, right? You know, you're gonna ask, Hashem, help me to bring on the people that are mine and not bring on the people that aren't mine, period. It's you know, not for everybody, but for me, it's definitely worked 100%, right? All right, the P is for the practice, the actual practice, the technique, right? So in this process, there are very, very, very concrete points that you have to hit. I'm gonna go through them all, right? But first and foremost, listening. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over again because you have to listen. The person who listens gets the sale. The person who talks the whole time, you're not my prospect, so that's why I'm doing all the talking right now. But if you were my prospect, I would have been just sitting here listening to you the whole time, asking questions, going around asking questions. Right? You go through the flow. When I talk about practice, it's listening. When I talk about practice, it's the flow. When I talk about practice, it's the presentation, right? What makes you unique and not just some other anybody, right? Why not just some other comic person, right? Another comic, cartoonist. What makes you different, right? Why should people buy from you? Why should people hire you, right? Overcoming obstacles, right? This is where people are like, oh, it's not the right time. Oh, I gotta talk to my partner. Oh, I don't have the money. Oh, whatever it is, right? There's always the same things that are going on. I'm gonna show you how to overcome that, pre-overcome them, right? And the close, right? This is part of the practice. How do you actually get them to open up their wallet and take out their credit card and give you the numbers, right? And you put it in and it goes to your bank account. That's what we all want, right? That's what we're actually here for, to be honest, right? All right, so first step to selling, once again, what is it? Stop selling, listen more, right? Listen to what they're saying. Shut up and listen, right? I talk probably 10-15, out of an hour, I talk 10-15 minutes. And it's the last 10-15 minutes, right? I'm asking them questions and they're leading themselves to where I want them to go, right? So here we are, the flow, right? What is the sales flow? This is exactly where we need to do, right? So I'm talking about big ticket items, right? Our clients are paying us our money to help them solve big problems, right? It could be them trying to sell them a comic book, right? It could be anything, and there's no difference between them. The only difference is sometimes the length of the sales process, right? But other than that, they're applicable to a lot of the same kind of things, right? Like I said, it's not a script that you're going down, but you've got to hit these bullet points, right? There's a reason why it's filled out this way and why it works, right? Make it your own. You don't have to memorize it, like I said. It's like giving over that funny story that happened to you, right? It helps lead the prospect there to where you want them to go, and it helps pre-overcome objections. They won't be able to tell you, okay, hit me up in 6 months. They won't be able to tell you, okay, send me an agreement, and I'll look it over and I'll get back to you. Because you're already in this flow, overcoming that, and they're agreeing to it. So when they say later on, oh, well, yeah, we'll circle back around in 3 months. You're like, but you told me earlier that now is the time, you need this now, and you said this and this and this and this. What's gonna happen if you wait 3 months from now? It'll be over, right? You've already lost your shot already, you know? And of course, the one thing, a little esoteric thing we want to talk about before we get into the nuts is the meat and potatoes, is the 3 ego states, right? 3 ego states is something you're encountering in every single call with every single person, right? And the bigger the sale, the more it's pronounced, right? So the first one is the parent. Right? The parent corresponds to the skeptic of the head, of the brain. I don't know. I don't think this is the right fit. How do I know you're gonna get me there? What have you done before? How am I knowing I'm not gonna lose money? Right? All these kind of questions where the person's like saying, no, that's the parent, right? How do you overcome that? You have case studies, right? You show them, well, here's where I've done it before, here and here and here and here with this and this and this person, right? This is why I've been successful, and this is why I know for sure I'm gonna make you successful, right? You're disarming that parent. They don't have that question anymore, right? So at the beginning of, once I go through the flow and I'm ready to give my presentation, the first thing I do is show case studies. I'm listening, actively listening to what they are, who they are, what they need, so I can think of the client in my head that's most like them, so I can bring up that study and show them the numbers right then and there and say, You see this guy? Are they doing what you're doing? Yeah. Do you see what they were doing last month? Yeah. Do you see what they're doing this month? Yeah. Are your numbers anywhere near close to last month or this month? No. Do you want that? Yeah. Done. Right? Next is the adult. Right? The adult is the logical person. Okay, so I think maybe you'll be able to get me there. How do we get there? Right? Paint for me the roadmap. What is it going to take to get there? Right? So this actually goes into the presentation that you give. It's going to have in there, cool, this is the step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, this is step 4. They're feeling very good about what you're telling them because you're showing them precisely what you're doing. You're not making it up on the spot. Right? Because you've done it a bunch of times already with other people. Right? And the child, right? I wish there was more of what's going on, but it's the least what people are feeling, right? But definitely you have to address the child as well. The child is excited. The child is a visionary. The child is the child is creative. Sorry, the child is creative. The child is coming up with solutions, right? The child wants to see things happening and can see, wow, the castle made out of gold in the sky. Can see all these different things that the parent and the adult can't see, right? So how do you do that? You paint a picture of what it can look like if they come with you. And in fact, you let them paint the picture, and I'll show you how you do that exactly, right? They're gonna tell you exactly what the child wants. All right, so here we go. We're in the flow. We finally made it. We're in the sales call. You've now got your ideal client in front of you, right? You've gone all through all this whole work, and now you're on the call. Or you're at a convention, whatever it is, you're shaking hands, all these kind of things going on, right? So here's the roadmap of what it looks like, right? Step 1, you're relating to them and you're schmoozing with them, right? You don't just get in there and automatically start like, hey, what's up, buddy? Where's that money? You know, I would love to definitely get that invoice fulfilled right now. You know, here's the numbers, blah, blah. Wow, you know, a little, I like to be taken out to dinner first, you know, kind of thing. Point being, right, is you're relating to somebody, you're schmoozing with them, right? We just got our turf done at the house, and this guy, you know, we brought in a bunch of quotes, a bunch of guys come in, one guy comes in, he's like, here's the quote. All right, this guy sucks, right? Another guy comes in, he's like, does a little bit of measurement, all right, there's a little bit more on par, right? Here's the quote, right? Okay, cool, all right, that guy did a little bit more work, he actually measured and knows what he's in for, right? The third guy comes in, he's got his shirt on, he's got his samples out, right? You know, he's coming in, but what does he do first? Right? He sees that I have tefillin marks on my arm. You put on tefillin. Yeah, I put on tefillin. Me too. I put it on Nate's every day. Right? You know, you have a kid. He sees my kid. Yeah. I have a kid too. Look. He shows me the kid playing on the deshe, on the turf. Right? You know, this guy's good. This guy's good. I know what he's doing already over here, right? When you're in sales and you see it happening all the time. And I like it. I know I'm in this guy's funnel. I know he got me on an ad on Facebook and blah, blah, blah. This guy's fantastic. I want to give this guy money. I gave him my money. It was more than the other ones. He did a better job, but I still got him down because I'm also in sales, so I negotiate with him. Right, so the first thing you do after you schmooze with them, you relate to them, right? So one quick thing on the relating to, you see in the background on the Zoom, they got a poster of Godfather. I love the Godfather, right? You're not being disingenuous. Whatever it is, they could have a poster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm a Packers fan, but I'll be like, oh man, remember when the Packers beat the Steelers? Oh, that was a tough one for you, huh? Right? Any way to relate to them. We're now connecting, even though he's gonna be like, this a-hole. We're connecting. I'm making him feel something, right? Right. So, go back one time as well. Thanks, man. Right. So motivation. First thing you do. Why are we here? Why are we here? You spent your time. I'm busy. You're busy. Your time's valuable. My time's valuable. What do you want out of this call? What are you here? Right? What do you want me to get? What do I want to give you? What are you looking to achieve in this call? Right? They'll say, you mentioned that you do marketing, and that's what I need marketing, so, I thought, I like you, I thought it'd be a good fit, I'm just trying to see if maybe it's a good fit, I'm trying to see if there's something I can do myself, or, blah, blah, they'll tell you something along whatever lines for your business, whatever it is, and once you do it over and over again, you know exactly what they're going to say before they come in, right? Then you ask them the 3 W's, right? You find out, You should know what their business is and what their business model is, but you ask them. So how are you getting leads? Where are you now? What are you doing? How are you getting to where you want to be, right? Or whatever it is. If you're not trying to build them leads, right? What are you doing now with your child? How are you now, working with them? How are you working through speech therapy, right? What are you doing for anything, right? How are you now saving the planet, right? Anything that you're doing here, you're asking them now, what are you doing now when you're going shopping, right? Are you taking your bags? You're taking the bags and you're doing this and you're throwing them away, right? It's the same thing. You got it here, you got it one time, now you got it, right? So you're asking them, what are you doing now, right? Then you're asking them, where do you want to be? Where do you actually want to be? Where do you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now? This is addressing the child, right away, and you're also priming them, putting in their head what it is they're going to have, because you're going to help them get there, right? So where do you want to be, right? So they're telling you, you know what, I want to hit 10K in sales, I'd like to be on a podcast, I'd like to be featured in a magazine, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? And you're saying, okay, great, why only 10K? Why not 15K? Or, you're helping them get to where they are, right? What's going to be valuable to them. And then you're asking them, what's the obstacle holding you back, right? What is it? What's the bridge between where you are now, which you agree sucks or not where you want to be? What this place where you want to be, that's your pie in the sky, and what's this thing here? And if you do this right, they're going to tell you, right? But they're going to tell you basically what you have, right? They're going to tell you what you have, right? They're going to tell you exactly what it is that you're doing, right? Well, I need marketing, and it's just so hard with the ads, and it's cannabis, and you hear the same things over and over again, right? And you can say it for them almost, but I'm not going to say it for them. I want them to say it. I want their mouth to hear, their ears to hear what their mouth says, right? But while you're doing all this, you're listening. Like I said, you're not speaking. You're actually vetting them as well. Can I help them? This is back to the integrity part. Can I actually help them? Right? Is this something that's valuable to them? But is this somebody that I want to work with? I personally have no asshole policy, right? So if I see someone is giving me asshole vibes, I'm like gonna end the call because I don't want to work with you over time, right? Or I'm seeing maybe they don't have the runway to be doing this long term. I can give them value. I can show them the roadmap, and I can say this is what you should be doing. I don't think we're a good fit. And there's been a few times where I tell people this isn't a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit, right? Whether for that asshole policy or for I can help them. I don't think I can actually help them in this specific instance. That's happened as well. And also because I don't think that they have the budget to see it through. Because if it takes a certain amount of time to see the results and they only have a budget for half of it, it's still not integrity because they're not gonna get to the point. They're gonna be frustrated and upset along the way, right? But the first thing you do after they say all these things and why you have to be listening is because you say it exactly back to them exactly as they said it to you. Right? This is the key of the whole thing, right? They've now told you their pain point, what's going to get you there, and the obstacle. Now you just say, okay, cool. So right now you're in a few stores, you do a pop up, you're only getting like 1 or 2 sales a month. You're getting referral leads, and people just kind of hear from you word of mouth. Okay, wonderful. You want to get 10K on sales a month, cool. You want to be in a couple podcasts, wonderful. And the thing holding you back is that, you've tried SEO companies, they didn't know what they were doing, they're not in cannabis, and, it's been an issue because you feel like you're teaching them instead of them teaching you what you should be doing. Is that correct? That's exactly it. Did I miss anything? No, that's perfect. They just told me that. And now they're amazed that I just repeated it back to them.
Did you write it down in the middle? Or
No. You don't write it down. You gotta remember, you gotta listen. This is the key, right? You gotta listen very hard and remember what they said and just repeat it back to them.
If you have bad memory.
I also have bad memory, but I have good short-term memory, thank God. So, no, it is something, right? So if you need to, I would not suggest taking notes because you're engaging. You're looking at them in the eyes. You gotta engage. It's better to do it imperfectly and repeat it imperfectly than it is to now they sing that you're over here doing something else. They don't know what you're doing. Right, so now you know that there's somebody that you can help. You're confident somebody you can help. Now you turn into. Now you're asking for the time commitment, right? This is the first pre-obstacle kind of. You're pre-overcoming an obstacle, right? Why now? Why not in 6 months? You can wait 6 months for this, can't you? No, you see, my kids are starting school, and I need by then, I need to have this runway done, or blah, 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 or, you know, whatever it is, they're gonna give you the reason why now is important, or tell you in 6 months why now is important, and if they say 6 months at this point, I end the call right there, and I say, wonderful, so this is so great, thanks for sharing all this stuff, I'll get back to you in 6 months. I'm not continuing the call then, right? I'm not continuing the call then. I'm gonna call them back in 6 months when they're ready, or when they call me, right? They say, no, now's the time. No, I need to get it going 6 months ago. I wish I got it going 6 months ago. That's what you want to hear, right? So then, okay, fine, wonderful. You convert to the close, right? So now you're 100% sure, right? You say, hey, listen, I know for sure I can help you. I showed you that for sure I can help you. You know I can help you. Can I show you how I'm gonna help you? You ask, everything in this is, like I said, non-pushy. You're asking for permission everywhere you're going. Every single step that you're going, you're asking for permission. You're not pushing them there ever, right? You're asking, is it cool if I show you, right? Yeah, I would love to. I was hoping. I'm waiting. Yeah, show me. Sometimes they'll be asking before you get through the 3 questions. And you got to stop, and you got to you control the conversation and go through the 2 questions. Otherwise, you're going to lose later on, right? And then you also say, listen, I hear you. I know it's something you need now. All I'm asking for is that after this conversation, at the end of this presentation, you're going to tell me yes or no. No maybes. No, so great. I think sometimes people say maybe because they don't want to say no. It's okay to say no. It's totally okay if you say no. I don't want a maybe. Well, you know, I don't commit before, you know, blah, blah, blah. I need time for everything. Well, is that a no, is that a maybe or is that a yes, but I need more time, right? If there's a yes, but I need more time, we can work through that. And I'll show you how we work through that later on, right? But you want to hear yes, you're ready to move forward, or no. So we're not wasting anybody's time. Right, no maybes, give me time. If you need time, we're gonna find out a way to give you time. That's no problem. But I just wanna hear yes or no. Right, so now your offer, right? We create our own offer, the bank method that no one else has, right? You create your own offer, something that's unique to you, right? That this is why they come with you and not someone else. So when they say, oh, we tried it before, but did you try this? You're telling me you tried the bank method before? No. You know, oh, you tried SEO before? Did they even know cannabis? No. So you didn't try it, actually. You paid someone money to screw you over, right? So you give them the offer, you go through the whole thing, it's a roadmap. Now, once again, it helps to have a good memory, right? Because now you're gonna remember what they said and what they need. The whole point as well of the 3 W's is to know what they need, so you're not selling them something they don't need. Right? So now when you go through the roadmap, even if you offer multiple things, you can brush over it and say, well, we also do this, but this is what you need. And you're telling them exactly what they need, right? And you're going through the presentation, you're showing them how they're gonna get there, right? So you go through the conversation, I'm not gonna waste your time with our conversation, right? This now, what's gonna happen here? You're gonna finish there, and you say, and they're gonna be like, new. And I'll be like, so you ready to get going? And what are they gonna say?
I think I'll have more time to think about it.
No, first they're gonna ask, well, what are they gonna think about it if they don't know how much it costs?
Oh, how's it going?
Right, so you don't say, this is what the price, this is the, right, even at the beginning, if someone comes on and they're asking for the price, if I get on the phone with someone who's a price, and they're pushing me to give the price, first of all, asshole red flag just went off, right? But second of all, right, you know, I've been pushed enough where I'm like, $250 bucks. $250, I'm like, yeah. There's a guy on Fiverr who you pay them $250, and then he's gonna not do anything for you, and then you're gonna pay $700 bucks. He's not doing anything for you, and then you're gonna be pissed off and pay $1,000 bucks, and then by the time you're gonna be to where you would have paid me and been happy with the work we're doing, right? Right. So anyway, so now they're gonna ask you, cool, how much? Thanks for asking. Right? I have like a playbook that shows our services, what it is, and I don't show them any prices for anything they don't need. I don't want their head going crazy. Right? Just for what they need, I'm gonna show them that price. Right? You always make the playbook, you wanna make sure you have wiggle room for yourself and for them. They could actually be somebody who's a mom and pop shop and they actually do need help with the pricing. And you have wiggle room with them, right, per se, right? So, in any case, right? So wait for them to ask for the price. You show them the playbook and menu, what you offer, right? And you get the credit card on the call. How do you get the credit card on the call, right? You say, this for you. This is what you need, right? Yes. You told me you needed this for this, right? Wonderful. You said now's the time, right? Yes. Wonderful. So you're ready to get going? Yes. Or I need more time, or whatever it is. What do you say when they need more time? Deposit. Deposit is the greatest invention of all mankind. I have not taken a deposit and the person asked for the deposit back, ever. And I've been doing this for a while. I'm an idiot when I don't ask for deposit because then they slip away. I've had people tell me I was going to ghost you until you asked for a deposit. I'm like, oh, this guy's serious. I love this. I've had people tell me I'm now incorporating deposit into my business because it was the smartest thing that I ever heard. Right? Instead of them now, they've had this ticket price and they're like reeling and they need some time to think about it, you say, fine, give me $100. And I'll send you an agreement. You can look it over, think about it on your time. No problem. Right? And what are they going to say? $100? Why? What do you need $100 for? Listen, I'm sitting here, you want an agreement, right? You want time. I've got a bunch of calls after this with someone who are doing exactly the same thing as you. I want to bring you on and not them because I talked to you already, right? And besides, you're asking me to work for you already. You want an agreement. I got to spend a couple of hours doing an agreement, all these kind of things, and you don't want to even give me $100? What do you think? I'm going to make a living off $100? You ask for $100 back, I'm going to give you back the $100. You think I'm going around taking $100 from everybody? This is the truth, right? What's going to happen? Right, we know that for sure. You give somebody a book, the book is thrown in the trash. You make somebody pay for the book, they're going to read the book. Right? What it means is they're actually going to invest the time and put thought into it. You're actually helping them to do what you know that they need to do. Right? And it's been absolutely fantastic. Right? So you send that over, right? So a few thoughts on clothing, right? Remember that you're the expert. You know you can help them. It's their loss if they don't sign on with you. Right? I'm like, Neba, like I know that they're gonna be back. Like I know I'm gonna hit them up in 6 months and be like, hey, how's your 6 months? If they're still in business, they're gonna be like, Maynard, I should have done it then, right? Right? They only do this once, that's why it's important for you to lead them, right? They only invest once, they're not privy to all the kind of experience that you have, right? So it's important for you to realize that they need your help, right? You do this all the time, so be patient with them, help lead them there, kind of thing, right? And remember, like I said, people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold to, right? Buyers are liars, right? There's a few things over here, right? And also, the bigger the ticket item organization, the longer the sales process. So, sometimes I'm not getting that credit card on the call. Most times I am, or I'm trying to. I'm getting a no instead, which is even just as good for me. Sometimes they're like, oh, I'm the marketing manager and I need to get the blah, 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 and this and that. That means that I didn't do my job, first of all, to know that all the decision makers were on the call, right, which is what I should have asked at the beginning. But that being said, sometimes there are longer sales processes that go on. So in those situations, follow up. You always follow up over and over and over again. You're never bothering anybody. We all know that we're all busy. We all know there are things that we've been meaning to do for so long, we haven't done them. Guess what? Same thing with them. They don't hate you. They didn't ghost you. They didn't find someone else. If they did, then that person's just closed them on the call. Just that simple, right? But the point being is that, if you follow up, it's not always like, hey, you ready to get going? Hey, ready to get going? One of my mentors is like, just knock on the tent. Hey, what's up? Hey, I'm here. How's it going? What have you been up to? Just reminding them that you're here. They'll remember what you're there for, right? And when they're ready to go, they're like, Maynard, let's get going. Right, so just a recap of integrity, right? Sales with integrity is giving to people what they need. You know they need them. They told you they need it, and you have it to offer them. You're not scamming anybody. You're not hurting anybody. You feel good about what you're doing, right? Everybody walks away happy. It's a win-win situation. I'm the expert. It's their first time going through it, so we're going through it, right? And always bringing in your higher power. Right, making sure that you're selling to people that you want to have on and not people that you know are going to be problems later on, right? And being okay with the no. Being okay with the no is totally cool, right? And entering in with the right mindset and knowing that for sure everything's going to work out. So I think that's it. Yeah, follow up 10 more times. Exactly. So yeah, thanks everybody. I would love to hear any questions. Any questions that anybody has.
It's about your menu.
Yep.
when you show them the menu, do you sort of design the menu to have some things they're gonna need, but some things they're not going to need, and then do you negotiate it from there? Like, yeah, you need this, I don't think you're gonna need that, or do you just put everything that you know they're gonna need, or like, do you tailor the menu to them, or do you just have a menu and you go over it with them and do like cherry picking together with them about what they need on the menu?
That's a great question. So, first and foremost, the way I do things, I do have multiple things on the menu. I know that I've had coaches that are like one call, one client, one offer, right? Like, you don't offer a million things. Let someone else do the SEO. You do the websites. Or you don't do the websites, you do the SEO, right? And they're into that. And there's a lot of simplicity in that. I do, right? I have multiple things. We have a full agency, we do the whole thing, right? So to answer your question, I have a playbook that's completely, all the services are on there, right? So all the things are on there with the price. They know I didn't make it up and jot it thin right as they did it. I didn't make it specifically for them. It's there. I just never give it out to anybody until after I get a deposit. I'll send it out to them, right? But and when I'm on the call with them, I don't show them any other prices except for what I told them they need. And specifically, I prefer to do what they need now and not even what they need a month from now. Because everything, they can even start getting crazy about, okay, well, I'm gonna need the website, I'm gonna need the SEO and the social media, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? When they don't need that right now. They need the website. If they don't have a website, they can't do anything anyways. You can't do SEO if you don't have a website, right? So I help lead them in that direction in my expertise. I tell them you're gonna need all this stuff. And if they're really adamant about showing them, I will show them those prices, but I definitely will not show them like our affiliate marketing if that's not what I think they need or that's not what they need, right? I'm not gonna show them all those prices, right? So I'm gonna have the menu. I don't make it specifically for a call. It's there, but I only show them what they need.
What do you do when you blank out in the middle of a conversation?
That's a great question. I ask them more questions. Yeah, I ask more questions. It happens in my podcasting all the time, right? Like we do a podcast and I'll be like, I try and be active in all the things. Every once in a while I'll be distracted and I won't be as engaged as I should be. In sales calls I'm pretty much always engaged, but like in the podcast, and what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, I didn't hear all that stuff. I'm ready to be like, repeat that. Listen, you can't, if it's something that's actually, you know what, I'll be honest as well. There's certain times where it is vital information that they just gave and I didn't hear everything, or I didn't process everything, or I didn't listen to everything, right? So for me, Maynard, the reality is I have ADHD and I do blank out from time to time, right? So I will honestly tell them like, hey, I apologize, listen, I have ADHD and I sometimes takes me, 2-3 times to get it. I missed out on some of the things you said. Do you mind repeating that part? Like, yeah, they have no problem repeating it, right? So yeah, that's usually the best thing I do. It's totally cool to just be like, hey, I missed part of that, or you know what, just being like, I missed part of that. Can you go back and cover that over again? Just to make sure that I got it properly. People are very good with that for sure.
My question: how do you deal with like fear? Let's say someone's fearful of doing something. How do you get them past that?
That's the best. I love when people are fearful, and I don't mean in a bad way. And I don't mean it's because they're being vulnerable with you, right? I can tell when they're scared before they tell me they're scared. So what I'm gonna do is during the 3 W's, I'm gonna ask more questions that are gonna get them to reveal what the fear actually is, right? So when they tell me what's holding you back, well, then I know, well, why haven't you done it already? If you know that that's what you needed, why haven't you done it already? Well, I just haven't had the funds, or I'm not sure if it's. They're gonna tell you they don't think it's the right fit, or they're gonna tell you what they're actually scared of, right? And sometimes it could be very deep stuff, right? Or it could be something that deals with the trauma, or something that goes along with those lines, and they're actually being very vulnerable with you. And I'm like, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I know that, I'm just met you this week, and here we are, and you're sharing that with me. I just really want to thank you for being vulnerable with me, and I totally hear you. If you didn't have that fear, I think there would be something wrong, right? That's completely natural for you to feel that way. That being said, I totally know why that fear is motivating you to hold back on this. But that being said, this is what I do. And I'm very good at what I do. And I know for sure, no matter what you've been through before or what you think may not happen, I'm going to take you to the place that we were talking about. Because I've done it multiple times. And the fear is very valid, right? You validate the fear and you tell them thank you. But you help them to realize that the fear in this scenario is unwarranted because you're the expert. And this is something you've been doing for a long time. You're not just trying to figure it out on the fly with them and their money. You're not experimenting with them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if I can just add something, I think also when fear is exposed in that kind of a situation, it, like you said, it's a great thing because it gives you the opportunity to also say, and how have you been handling that before? And maybe they've
Yes.
been handling it by not addressing
Yes.
it, or maybe they've been handling it with your competitor, or
Yes.
whatever the situation
Or by inaction.
is.
And I said,
Right.
what is the
And
fear
then
going you so
you
far?
get them to say, that hasn't worked.
Exactly.
And now you come in with the solution, it's fabulous.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I see.
What, so let's say we've already got our sales pitch down, we're ready. Where do we go next to start getting those leads? Don't give us secret sauce, but like, are there books we should read? Are there tutorials we should read? Are there just
That's a
basic
great
resources?
So, I will say that,
Are there podcasts you have done?
yeah, I mean, so, let's see. I have a podcast, and our podcast is our lead generation machine, right, for us. We get people through our podcast. We have episodes on it as well, and it's not even that I don't want to give away my secret sauce. It's really not like I said, no one in here is my prospect or my competitor or anything like that, right? Like, everybody should be able to be flourish and successful, and there's no, I don't believe in like competition or anything like that. It's like such a long thing, right? So what I'll say about prospecting is automation is your friend. You don't have to do things manually, right? Using technology, scraping leads, scraping emails, of knowing where your people are. If you know that they're in a Facebook group, your leads are all in a Facebook group, you can get those emails and you can put them in a system that is gonna send up a drip sequence to them, right? And I don't suggest opening up your drip sequence with, hey, I've got so-and-so service, do you want it, right? You don't just go full head in there. There's certain offers that you have that are gonna entice them, and just asking questions. Once again, it goes back to asking questions, right? So there's different ways of doing it, right? So there's like nourishing offers, right? There's interview offers. There's different kind of offers that you lead with that they're gonna make them open the email and respond to you. Or if they're on LinkedIn, right? There's ways of automation tools on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our baby, right? Like LinkedIn is like our main thing. There's automation tools on LinkedIn that are getting into their inbox, and it's not like the messages all you were getting on LinkedIn that are like, hey, I do SEO, hey, I do WordPress, hey, I do SEO, you know, whatever it is, just yelling at you like, stop, please, right? You want to be the person that's like, oh, that's interesting, what is that? You know, and that's how you get in there, right? And then when they don't open it, because maybe they don't, you send in follow-ups, right? So it's all part of the drip sequence. So you're not dealing with all the no's, you're dealing with the yeses, right? So by the time someone's responded, now you get to manually address that. Instead of manually sending out 100,000, 100 million emails, and you're just like, nothing's working, oh, my business sucks, right? Like, you're not dealing with any of that stuff. The computer's dealing with all that stuff, and you're getting the replies. And your calendar's full, and you could care less how many people aren't opening your emails or responding or thinking your system sucks or all that kind of stuff. Right, so that's a bit on that. But yeah, you gotta know where they are. First, that goes back to niching down. You gotta know where they live, where they talk, who are they communicating with, what Facebook groups are they in, what their keywords are on LinkedIn, right? What hashtags they're into. All those kind of things will lead you to your prospect, and then you automate and you send out a gang of stuff, and you're everywhere to them until they finally say, "Yeah, sounds great. I'll talk to you." Right?
I have a question. There is a lot of background preparation. There's a lot of background preparation that you do for the sale. What are the key points of that background?
You mean immediately preceding a call, or like the whole process of like setting up my offer and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, if you start.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it takes time investment to properly distinguish yourself from other people, and that's why most people suck at distinguishing themselves, right? You have to actually, like, thank God we thought of the thank method, that just was like a godsend. The Dank method is just a play on words, right? Design, advanced technology, newest algorithm hacks, and content creation. It's the same thing everybody's offering, but we put a cute spin on it, and everybody loves it, right? Because of course, what Dank means potent in the cannabis industry, right? So it's just works, right? And so that, it took time to sit there. My wonderful wife, right? We thought about it, and she went in there and made all the graphics and did the playbook and all the thing, right? So yeah, it takes time to like make yourself look different. You know, we do web design, so of course our website looks amazing. So when you go on there, everybody knows that you're gonna get something amazing. So yeah, of course, like there is a lot of stuff that goes behind it, but that shouldn't be a deterrent. First and foremost, you don't need all that stuff. You should know, right? You should know that you don't need any of that. Actually, we do that because that's what we sell. So like, you know, if I was selling shoes and I had shitty shoes, excuse my language, whatever, right? Like it would be kind of silly, right? The point being, if you're not selling websites and SEO, you don't need to have the best website and SEO, right? But you should have a system and something that does differentiate you, right? So you're a surf coach. Why not Yoram? You know, he's a great surf coach. Why you? Right? Well, you don't understand. My technique with the children is completely different, right? I make sure to overcome their fears first and foremost. I make sure to show them the technique, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're breaking it down for them in a way that they're gonna understand very quickly that you're not Yoram and why they should come to you, kind of thing. Right? But yeah, definitely there's a, like I said, imperfect action is better than no action. Getting up there and at the very beginning, like low-hanging fruit, right? Just like hitting people up you think could be good prospects, or people you knew before that you didn't follow up on, can be your saving grace this month, right? It's still the 28th. You can still close today. Any other questions?
Yeah, Maynard.
Yes, sir.
You know what ChatGPT is?
Huh?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you found a way to integrate that into your business?
Good question. Good question. So, been doing this for 9 years, right? And been doing Calacann for 5 years, right? And I'm definitely along that time, right? Technology is moving very fast. I've seen a lot of new things come and go, right? A lot of shiny objects come and go, right? I remember a few years ago it was about the chatbots, everybody chatbots, and everybody's like chatbots, right? Like, and it wasn't the AI chatbots. It was like, you know, you're gonna have this like chat sequence, this drip sequence from chats as opposed to the email, and that's what everybody was doing, blah, blah. There's always a new thing that people are getting into. Not that they're not gonna work, but I'm not gonna be the test dummy on it, right? So ChatGPT is probably gonna, in the long run, overcome Google. And I mean, there's problems with that because everybody's going to believe whatever ChatGPT says. So there are issues with what's going on. That's another topic. But that being said, it could be the future, and it probably is the future. But I'm going to let everybody else work out the bugs, and I'm going to integrate the systems when they're ready to be integrated, kind of thing. Right? So that's the same kind of thing. I'm the same kind of way when I buy a phone. I don't buy the newest phone. I get the phone that's a couple years older, right, that, you know, doesn't have the bugs in it. You know, everybody who gets the brand new phone just came out, like, I always hear them like, oh, I've broken my phone in my pocket, and oh, I just like the operational system, just awkward. Like, they're always got something going on, but at least they got the phone. They said that they're the first ones to have the phone, right? So I'm always just waiting. I'm a waiting guy, I'm a wait and see kind of guy, right, where I'm going to wait and see how these things can benefit me. And if they're going to be beneficial, for sure, I would love to incorporate ChatGPT. I'm chomping the bit. But I'm not gonna be the guy who's like gonna get screwed by it either.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Maynard. Any client, 5% goes to me. After no, but true. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Thank you, everyone.
And honestly, to close off, I wish everybody the most amazing success, parnasa, hatzlacha, only good things, really, that everybody should be so successful. There's so much abundance in the world, and Hashem wants to give us everything, right? So everybody should be blessed in every single way.
Amen. Everyone, this food was from Doron Shulman at Sadie's Coffee, or Cafe Sadie's. If you like the food, let me know. If you want the food, let me know. If you want it changed, let me know. We can change it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.